Yo, what's up guys? Yeah, PokeaimMD here with my week 7 battle of the Smogon Premier League. Now this is a tournament replay, and I will be talking about my thought process and maybe my opponent's thought process. I actually wrote down some notes while I was playing, or at least at team preview, just some things to keep in mind during the game, because obviously it's a tournament game. I'm currently 3-3 in this tournament. So the battle I uploaded the other day was versus Wellio, but that was my week 5 battle, and the battle before that was my week 6 battle versus Sage. So I'm currently 3-3 in terms of win and losses. And yeah, Evie is one of my, I think, favorite players to watch in SPL right now, just because, well, I mean, there's a lot of RU players that do this, but, and especially because RU is kind of new as a whole with all the Metagross drop and all that, you know, and losing half their good checks to certain Pokemon. But I love the stuff that Evie brings, so it's always a treat to watch her battle. And yeah, so shout out to my boy L for working with me, of course. We're actually bringing webs this time. Funnily enough, one of my webs versions, because both my manager and LL suggested that I use webs, and one of them actually had Bruxish, so that's pretty cool that she ended up bringing Bruxish. I actually really like her team a lot. So here's a few things that I noted at team preview. Again, if you guys just want to watch the replay, it'll be linked down below. But here's a few things that I noted at team preview. One, my Lycanroc is going to be important because Salazzle is extremely fast under Sticky Web. I am running Sticky Web, by the way. Under Sticky Web offense, it still outspeeds Beware and obviously Araquanid. My Nidoqueen does outspeed it, but if it's Choice Scarf Salazzle, obviously we'll be able to outspeed that. My Metagross can outspeed it as well because I'm Jolly. But it outspeeds Beware, which is very important, and Beware is actually pretty good at breaking here, considering its Double Edge and Drain Punch is non-resisted dual stab. Honchkrow isn't bad either. I think Honchkrow is actually super important as well because Bruxish is a threat, alright? Bruxish is a threat. That thing can just Psychic Fangs through my team, and Ice Fang if it wants to, Crunch respectively, whatever it's running. It can obviously be a problem. So a few things that I want to keep in mind when playing: keep Lycanroc around because it will always check Salazzle. A Cellurock always KOs Salazzle from full. And as far as leads go, it was really scary for me because when I'm thinking, like, if I lead off with Araquanid, like, what I want, because Vikavolt is so nice versus my team, it actually only goes down to 2 Pokemon on my team. It goes down to Fire Blast from Nidoqueen, if I'm modest, which I am, and Stone Edge from my Lycanroc. So, the way I wanted to lead was, because I was looking at my team and like, what would I do if I was Evie? I would lead Vikavolt, right? So I wanted to lead off with something that gave me a good matchup versus Vikavolt, but whatever had a good matchup versus Vikavolt always had a bad matchup versus Bruxish, right? If I led Lycanroc and it was Aqua Jet Bruxish, I wouldn't like that. If I lead Nidoqueen, Psychic Fangs obviously is free versus my team, but I feel like because Hitmonchan is her spinner, she wants to actually try and prevent webs as much as possible. Because Hitmonchan doesn't spin that freely versus my team. Honchkrow threatens it with Brave Bird, obviously Metagross with Meteor Mash, Double Edge on Beware, Liquidation from Araquanid. So I have like members to really threaten her. But her overall game plan, I think she's going for maybe like a Bruxish type of sweep. Salazzle in the endgame is extremely threatening, so she definitely wants to try and force me to throw away my dog, but I won't. Anyway, so again, I let off with something that would be good versus Vikavolt as a lead. Now, I ended up leading off with Nidoqueen, as she ended up leading off with Vikavolt, so I got that right, which is really nice. Automatically, it puts my opponent in a predicting, how can I say the T? Predicting situation, right? Where I don't have to predict. I kick Fire Blast and I'm good, right? Her Fire Blast resists don't appreciate my other moves, right? They don't appreciate Earth Power, right? So it automatically puts her in a position where she has to predict. So I throw off Fire Blast here. She brings out Hitmonchan. I find out immediately that this Hitmonchan is AV, which is good. Life Orb wouldn't have been more threatening, but AV is just nice because I know I got to chip that thing away. Also, that Fire Blast is very important because it means Liquidation is a guaranteed KO. So I decided to go out into my Araquanid because 2 reasons. If Evie had Ice Punch and Thunder Punch, I would live it. I could get up my Sticky Web here, and then my Custap Barrier would activate because Ice Punch and the Thunder Punch does not knock me out. It puts me in Custap Barrier range always because of Hitmonchan's ability Iron Fist, and I can knock it out with Liquidation. And I can attempt to go for my webs here too. So decided to go for my webs as she ended up bringing out Vikavolt. Now, because Vikavolt is a little bit annoying for my Metagross, which under webs is extremely threatening. I have Earthquake for Salazzle, Meteor Mash for Rhyperior, Explosion for Bruxish, Meteor Mash for Hitmonchan, Earthquake for Metagross. I decide to actually Liquidation here because I'll get a little bit of chip damage on that thing. It would really be nice also for my Night Slash / Brave Bird from Honchkrow. So I go for Liquidation. If she doubles, I think predicting me to want to go Nidoqueen and goes out to Metagross, which I'm fine with, right? Because only Metagross that can knock me out now, I think, would be like Gigavolt Havoc. And if it uses that Z move, that means it's Salazzle. I get to find out a little bit of information about Salazzle that's either Specs or Scarf. But she ends up going for the Zen Headbutt here, and I unfortunately get flinched. I do survive, and it actually puts me in Custap Berry range, which is good because obviously I could threaten that. Her outspeeding me, though, leads me to believe that this might in fact be a Choice Scarf Metagross as well. That roll is a pretty high roll, but this may in fact be a Choice Scarf Metagross. So I'm good with this trade because if I get rid of Choice Scarf Metagross, my Nidoqueen is still really good versus him. And obviously, Metagross is a little bit annoying because of Clear Body not caring about my Sticky Web. So I do get my Custap Berry as she goes out into Vikavolt, which isn't a bad play. I think she expected my Honchkrow to come out here too, but because I did have my Custap Berry, it was a no drawback play, just clicking Liquidation. So I get the 2-hit KO on a Rocky Helmet defensive Vikavolt, which is pretty cool to see. I wish I would have seen a little bit more of that, but it's a double down. I go out to Metagross because Metagross basically says, okay, you can't go Hitmonchan and spit on me. You go Rhyperior, I weaken you, which is amazing for Honchkrow. Like, Honchkrow goes in if that thing is weakened. You go Metagross and you go for Earthquake, I take away your Choice Scarf Metagross. I can boom on the Bruxish, so I think, and I'm faster than a non-Scarf Salazzle because I am Jolly. So right here, she's gonna outspeed me, confirming that she was Choice Scarf, and she's gonna go for the Earthquake. But I'm fine with Metagross being gone. Again, that Pokemon, that speed tier, it outsped my entire team. So very good at being down. Now she brings out Bruxish. Now I can see this because crunching the Psychic Fangs kind of KOs everything besides Honchkrow, so it forces in Honchkrow, forcing it to maybe take damage from there. But because I am an Explosion Metagross, I am going to click it right now, and a huge threat is gone. So such a great turn, like such a great series of turns for me, taking Metagross as well as Bruxish. Now Hitmonchan comes out. Now I knew that Hitmonchan would come out here, but my best play is always Nidoqueen. I didn't want to because if I risk Beware and she goes Salazzle, right, you can knock me out with Fire Blast. If I go Lycanroc, you have two Pokemon that can deal with that. Nidoqueen makes the most sense because Nidoqueen basically forces a 2-hit KO on anything or a KO on anything in the back, right? Rhyperior and Salazzle both go down to Earth Power. The Rhyperior can take it for the most part because of Solid Rock, just barely, but it can. So if she goes Hitmonchan, yes, she will be getting off a Rapid Spin, but at this point, I've almost locked up the game. Right, even with her Rapid Spinning, what does she do after? She can't switch out into Salazzle. She can't switch out into Rhyperior because I go for Earth Power after and it knocked it out. If she went Salazzle, it would only be because you are Inferno Overdrive or Choice Specs, which I would find out, and obviously my Lycanroc can deal with it. So I go for the Sludge Wave because it does more damage, and basically it just means, like, if she spun, it didn't really matter. She will spin here, and it just basically means my Earth Power is going to knock her out now. And at this point, if you don't go Salazzle, that means that you're not Inferno Overdrive or Choice Specs. Obviously you would outspeed me, but Fire Blast does not knock out Nidoqueen, so she goes Rhyperior because it's the only thing that can actually take an Earth Power from me, as it does. But at this point, I know that my Lycanroc in the back can seal it up by going for a Celerock versus Salazzle, and all I gotta do is go Honchkrow, I click Night Slash, it knocks out Rhyperior, and right here Salazzle comes out. Just in case it is a sub Salazzle, I do not go for Sucker Punch. I go for the Night Slash again, / Black Hole Eclipse. This is my Zmon, so I go for the Black Hole Eclipse. As she does go for the Z move, it is Acid Downpour though. Maybe hoping for my choke, because if I went Lycanroc, I don't even know if Lycanroc went down to Acid Downpour. I actually do not think I did. But maybe like a crit on Lycanroc with Acid Downpour could knock me out. But I can now just safely go Lycanroc, and I have the priority of Celerock. Tough Claw is boosted. Salazzle goes down, and that is good game. So I thought she had a really cool team, and that I feel like Metagross could have been a little bit more threatening throughout this game, but definitely Araquanid MVP'd it, and just Metagross just took so much. Like, that Bruxish was definitely a problem as well. The fact that her Hazard Control actually happened to be a Rapid Spinner in this game too, that wasn't Blastoise, made it a little bit easier. I did have a few outs for Blastoise. I had Thunder. I was modest Nidoqueen with Thunder, which KOs Blastoise after Rocks. Obviously, I have Explosion on my Metagross, which is faster than modest Blastoise as well, so I could prevent the Rapid Spin. So I had a few outs versus that, but the fact that she was a slower Rapid Spinner as well made it a little bit easier for me. And yeah, definitely. She actually ended up passing me this game, by the way. If you guys are her team, by the way, if you guys are wondering. But yeah, definitely a good game. Was a ton of fun. Happy that I am now 4-3. But this is only week 7. I think we have week 8 and week 9 of SPL, and then of course my team is currently in first place. So we also have playoffs. Ideally, we need to win this week. If we win this week, we're guaranteed playoffs. But right now, I believe we're down 3-4, and it takes 6 wins to tie, 7 wins to win. But we got a bunch of heavy hitters in the back, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed. Obviously, it was a really, really fast-paced game. Funnily enough, I'll tell you guys a little story. But funnily enough, Evie and I were scheduled for the same time that my teammate Cristo was also scheduled as well. And I was like, "Do you want to play before them or after them or right now?" She's like, "Oh, we can wait for Lycans versus Cristo." And then, like, Evie didn't obviously know, but Cristo had loaded up stall, so I was like, "Oh man, I have sticky web in the stall. Like, I'm gonna have to wait for this." But yeah. Anyway, I just want to say that. But hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, some more RU or whatever my team wants to do with me. So I'll see you guys. Goodbye, my friends.